This morning, we are going to be talking about dispelling some common myths about dementia, some questions that we commonly get out in the community in the good old days when we would go do presentations in person, or that people may call into our helpline and ask, or that we encounter with friends and family, or that we once wondered about ourselves before we came to work for Alzheimer's Orange County and learned about these common myths. And next one, Alzheimer's is a disease of memory loss. People don't die from Alzheimer's disease. What do we think? True, false, none of the above?
Shall we get responses from our
let's get responses on the next one. Let's go ahead with this.
Okay. So yeah, I hear this so often, and there's a fundamental misunderstanding of the disease. The disease is progressive, degenerative. It continues to destroy brain tissue. And as it does, it affects more and more cognitive functions. Melissa, if we can go to the illustration of the brain here. Yeah, that's going to be too hard to see. So
I'll put myself away for a little bit.
All right. Okay, that's a little better. So I'll talk with my fingers. Alzheimer's disease and many other forms of dementia typically affect short-term memory, which is seated in the hippocampus region structure of the brain that's on both sides, deep inside the brain, that is the seat of learning. And so new memory, short-term memory. And so we think, because that's the most common early symptom of Alzheimer's, many people think that Alzheimer's is just a disease of memory. But the issue is that it doesn't stay in that region, it spreads. It continues to destroy the neurons, the brain tissue in the hippocampus as it spreads throughout the brain. So it begins to impact the language center and the temporal, particularly in the left temporal lobe, where people then have more and more difficulty with word finding, expressing their thoughts, understanding what we're saying to them. And it continues to spread to the frontal lobes of the brain, which is responsible for our higher level of thoughts, decision-making, abstract thinking, understanding the passage of time. All of those are part of, are seated in the frontal lobes of our brain. It also then begins to impact deep inside the brain where our emotions are regulated. So you can see more and more cognitive functions beyond memory are being affected. So emotional regulation and then sensory perception, and this is really not well understood by so many people. And I saw so clearly evidenced in Judy's actions. She was having trouble with her vision that wasn't related to her eyesight, but it was her brain's inability to process what her eyes were taking in. And that's because the disease is destroying the neurons in the visual cortex that is part of how we process the world around us and how we understand it. And so her vision is declining in depth perception, in peripheral vision, in color contrast, and that would impact her in her ability to interact with the physical world. But that's not all. It's spreading throughout the brain and eventually comes to the brain stem, which regulates all of our major organs, our reflexes like swallowing. Swallowing becomes more and more difficult in the later stages.
Alzheimer's can be reversed or slowed by medications or supplements. Let's take a minute, weigh in, whoever's out there. You think yes, no, maybe so? Another common question. These are all kind of pretty common questions that we encounter every day. Anybody out there? Ben, you want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah, there is so much misunderstanding over this. So let me just address FDA-approved medications. There are no medications that impact the disease process. The disease is moving forward inexorably. It continues to progress no matter what we take. There are 4 medications on the market that are FDA approved, but they only treat symptoms. I'm not going to get into the specifics of medications, but they are only providing some small benefit in symptoms, allowing the brain to function a little better for a while, probably not more than 3 years, and they lose their effectiveness. And they absolutely do not reverse the disease, nor do they even slow its progression. So whether or not someone chooses to take one or more of those medications, it's not going to alter the disease process and the ultimate timeline in the progression. So we just don't have anything that's even close to a cure. A ton of research, a lot of money has gone into trials, various prospective medications to see if the disease can be even slowed. And so far, none of those trials have been effective. And the same is true for supplements. There's a lot of talk, and especially in the popular press, we'll see headlines like, could this, fill in the blank, be the cure for Alzheimer's, question mark. It's a great headline to get people's attention and to sell advertising, but there is no definitive support for any of those supplements. So it's not a great situation. We wish it was better, but there just aren't any medications or supplements that will make a difference. And Melissa, you've got a good perspective on supplements. You want to talk about that?
Sure. I'll share this infographic that was showed to me by a pharmacist that we often have speak for us, and he's wonderful. I trust him completely, and he echoes what all the great research organizations and public health groups say, and that this is a graphic. It's kind of small, you can't really see it too well, but if you Google this phrase along with AARP or the Global Council for Brain Health, I think this is a beautifully done infographic that basically kind of distills down the evidence that we have that there's no good evidence that says that any particular supplement will prevent or slow the progression of an Alzheimer's disease. Hopefully we're getting all the nutrients we need from our food. If that's an issue for you, obviously that's something you want to talk to your physician about, and maybe getting a supplement that you can't otherwise get from your diet. But we know that the best way to ingest and process everything that we need is through our diet. And diet is very important and has been shown to play a role in cognitive health. We know that a Mediterranean type of diet, heavy on the fresh fruits and veggies, is really important to get all those nutrients that you do need. And on the medication front, I'd echo exactly what you said, Ben, that we do have those FDA-approved medications that we've had for a while, but really, I hear from both sides. Yes, we saw this medication improve our symptoms for a short time, or some people saying, the side effects kind of outweighed the benefits for them. And a lot of it can be really tough to tell with the progression of dementia if a medication is helping. But we do know that, if person A and person B, if person A took, Aricept or a medication, you may see a little improvement in their symptoms, as you talked about, maybe a little sharper for a short time. But then person A and person B, there would be no change in the progression of the disease for them. It wouldn't slow down the disease progression. I think that's a really important point to make, that, we can have some symptom improvement, which may improve the quality of life for a short time. And so these are highly personal decisions that people should talk to their neurologists and their physicians about. We also know that there's clinical trials out there that can be a way for people to try. We know that the cure or a treatment will come eventually from a clinical trial. And so a lot of people feel that, this is something they can do and contribute to research. My mom was in one, but again, this is a highly personal decision, and all the pros and cons should be weighed for each family independently. Yeah. So anything else to add on this one?
One thing I would add, it's pretty clear that has great benefits, whether
You're breaking up a little bit for me, Ben, and I don't know if it's for everyone on Facebook as well. So
risk.
Okay, there we go.
It's good for just improving my outlook, my mental ability to respond, my memory. Getting more oxygen to the brain is really important, and exercise is just one of the best things we can do. And it also helps by simply calming. As we said earlier, if we can do something to help our loved ones be calm, that improves life for everybody, and exercise clearly has those benefits.
And I think you were frozen for a little bit there, but I gathered that you were talking about exercise as a very important thing that we can do for many reasons. And I say this a lot, but if doctors could prescribe a pill that gives everyone the benefits of exercise, everyone would be on this exercise pill, right? Because it just benefits every organ system, and we know that it benefits our brain immensely. Some interesting studies have even shown that volume areas, certain areas of the brain increase after like a year of sustained exercise, areas like the hippocampus, which we know is really important for memory. So I think exercise is so key, and something we should be doing anyways. The World Health Organization recommends 150 minutes a week. So make sure everyone's getting their exercise in. Okay, I think we're down to our last one here. If I have memory loss, that means that I definitely have Alzheimer's.
So that's clearly not true. Number one, memory loss, some memory loss is a part of normal aging. Our brains slow down just like our bodies slow down. I can't run as fast or jump as high as I used to. I can't process problems. I can't remember as much. I can't multitask as well as I used to. That's normal. So memory loss alone is not.
Oh no, you froze again. I don't know if it's your internet connection. Hopefully you come back here. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
So it's simply not true that memory loss means that you have Alzheimer's. There can be many reasons that we're struggling with our memory. Could be some of those reversible causes that we showed in the umbrella slide, such as depression or infections or thyroid problems, for example, can impact the brain's ability to function. And so it's important to check it out, to find out if there's something abnormal going on with our brain. And one of the ways to do that is get a memory screen. And we've got a great program on memory screening.